Kevin Cooney, and you referenced a piece that Kevin wrote regarding the Philadelphia Phillies, the future of the Phillies, response to something that Bob Nightingale, USA Today, wrote about the team.
Yeah.
And we were having fun with it because we thought it couldn't really be this bad, but then when you start to move away from the humorous element of it, you realize, in fact, no, it actually is.
It is this bad.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. And the future doesn't look all that bright either,
no.
Even though they rolled out the 2020 schedule today.
Well, we'll get Kevin's thoughts on that as well. Harry Mayes, Eytan, Shander, always a pleasure. Kevin, how are you today?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
I'm great because the weather's been great, and it's not because the baseball team has been watchable.
Yeah, come on. That doesn't sound like a man who is pumped and through the roof excited, Kevin, that the schedule of 2020 has come out. This is schedule release day.
You know, it's funny. One, typical MLB, they would do schedule release day on the same day as the NBA schedule release day, which will get way more attention. That's one. Two, I was also looking at the Phillies schedule, and you know, occasionally with my wife and my stepkids and everything would look to take a road trip or something. Their road trips are awful next year. Like their interleague trips are not close.
Toronto,
they're not particularly. Toronto's one, and that's in September. So and then you know, your marquee trips of like San Fran's in April and all that. It's just it was not a great. Chicago's in April as well. It's like, you know, your marquee cities are not exactly in the prime vacation spots, if you will. So.
Well, yeah, they start out in Miami, I guess, right?
They open up
in March,
right.
But you know, who cares about
Miami,
that too?
It's downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they start Miami, and then at the Mets, he'll probably be raising a wild card banner by then. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good point. All right, Kevin, I got to get to this piece you put out on Friday on the PhillyVoice. It says, "Ignore the standings. This Phillies team isn't close to being ready to win again." And it's pretty like eye-opening to me when I read the cut from the piece that Nightingale did, and sort of the justification for Gabe Kapler. My mouth was agape for about 30 seconds. Are you serious?
I mean, that's the thing that really upset. I don't know if upset me. It concerns me that there was not a legitimate baseball reason cited there for keeping Gabe Kapler. Not one. You know, ticket office, great. You know, the fact they greets no employees, that's wonderful. I mean, get him a job at a casino then. At this point, he'd be perfect. Right. I mean, but at this point, look, I'll readily admit that Gabe Kapler has his hands tied. That the roster he has right now, some of it's injuries, some of it is the poor decisions made by Matt Klentak, especially with the starting rotation and all that. But in the end, the manager does pay the price for it. And the manager, through history, look, Pete Mackanin paid the price for a bad roster. Why is Gabe Kapler, who has a better roster in theory, why is he going to be judged by a different landscape? It just is baffling to me. And the better question I have is, who exactly under Gabe Kapler has improved? And
great question.
That is a really disturbing thing that you could sit here and maybe say Scott Kingery, but the bar was set so low with Scott Kingery last year. I don't know if this is that much of an improvement as far as it's just him maybe getting his feet grounded within the big leagues.
You referenced the calling of season ticket holders and the other things that were going on outside of just physically managing a baseball team. One thing that caught our eye and ear was the research projects that he's partaking in. And, we immediately jumped to, these things that you find in the back of the Village Voice or Philadelphia page where it's, eat this brownie
medical testing
for $100. Put some ointment on your scalp to see if you can grow some hair. What type of research projects is he involved in? Do you have any idea?
Well, I took that as meaning research as far as willing to dig in maybe deeper in the numbers or analytics or something like that, as opposed to experimental, try this, and see if this works. But
you never know with this organization, man. New stuff pops every day.
And that's the thing I think that's the most disturbing is the fact that they have not really articulated. I get that you don't spill the secrets, of everything you do within the organization. There has to be a secret sauce, if you will. But when you're struggling, you have to really give people an idea of, okay, what do you see? What's your game plan? What's your big picture here? And this organization has not done a good job in conveying that message. And even, guys, look at the mixed signals if you think about it, of them going for a Bryce Harper, trading for JT Realmuto, trading for Gene Segura, picking up Robertson and McCutchen and all that, okay? Mm-hmm. Those are win-now modes. My guess is that the thing you will hear if they decide to bring everybody back next year, which I think ultimately because of the comfort level that they were describing, probably is the odds-on favorite to happen right at this point unless John Middleton gets involved. What they're going to say is, we knew this is part of a process, and we have a number of years and everything. It's the mixed messages you're sending. It's the way you approach your your off season last year, and now if you're going to pull back and say that it wasn't, an all-in year, you can't have that. Otherwise, what you end up is with a ticked-off fan base, which is what this organization has, and one that'll become apathetic probably through September.
And that's even worse, apathetic.
Right. Apathy is terrible.
Now, Kevin, let's say they do move on from Gabe after the season's over. Do we really trust this front office, as constructed to pick the right guy?
Well, and that's the next question that has to be answered. I mean, look, I personally believe that the Kapler, if you don't make the playoffs, I don't see any way you could bring Kapler back, okay?
Right.
But then if you're John Middleton, you've got to look at your baseball operations. What's Andy McPhail bringing to the table here? Was Matt Klentak the guy? You look at Klentak's flaws, which is he can't seem to spot starting pitching. Every move he's had with a starting pitcher, every decision he's made with starting pitcher has been wrong. And you can look at the fact that he didn't go for the Cole Hamels move last year when it was presented to him, and instead decided to sit back with these three guys that he had at the back end, and the season kind of fell apart. I mean, guys, if you look at their last 162, they're 76 and 86. I mean, this is not just a mediocre team. This is a bad team at this point. And so I think you would have to look after 4 years, is Matt Klentak right for this job? And I think that's something Middleton's going to have to really look at his whole upper structure and see if he's comfortable with this going forward.
Is there anything big that you can see in their immediate future? And I don't mean on the level of Bryce Harper, but maybe as far as somebody out there that would preferably be an arm, I would imagine, first than a bat, that they're going to pour some money into? Or is there a concern now that they've spent their big money on Bryce Harper and not necessarily nickel and diming their way to better pitching, but not to the level of breaking out the checkbook like we've seen?
Eytan, what I think scares me is the fact that they believe that you don't pay big for starting pitching. That's always been the Andy McPhail philosophy that we've been told, okay? Well, they're going to have to do it at this point. And They've backed themselves. And that's how you end up with pitchers with worse contracts, okay? Do I see him make a run into Garrett Cole or something in this offseason? Yeah, I do. I think that it's logical because it fills the natural need. But if you look at it, a lot of their moves that they've made, okay, assuming that you want to keep Realmuto here, obviously you're going to have to start looking down the road here. Hoskins is going to become arbitration eligible soon. So you're going to have to probably look at doing deals with him down the road. So that'll take up some money. You're going to have to fill your center field spot at this point, unless you're going to bring like Corey Dickerson back and put McCutchen back there. Are you going to feel comfortable with a guy coming off a torn ACL moving back to center field at age 32? That's a big question. Third base, I think they'll go without Boom. The money moves that they have, they're kind of boxed in on some of their cash, and they have these glaring needs, and that's a huge concern.
Speaking of third base, what was your thoughts on the way they handled Franco?
I thought it was awful, the way they handled Franco. It's not so much that I don't agree that it's time to move on from Franco and everything, but you're telling me that Sean Rodriguez and Brad Miller are better options than Maikel Franco to have off your bench? the fact that Mike Franco is still, even in his down state and how down they are on him, he's still a guy who has 20 home run pop, 20 to 25 home run pop, which on this team makes him one of the upper level power guys that they have. Obviously Hoskins is better, Harper's better, but he's outperforming Real Muto in that sense. I just thought it was, and it also, there's another part of this. Franco was a popular guy within that clubhouse. A lot of guys, because he was fun, he's a good dude and everything, and there are a lot of guys who kind of looked at him on how to handle Philadelphia in a sense, because Franco doesn't let a lot of the criticism get to him, which is probably a positive and a negative, but he knew how to handle the market and how to handle criticism. The fact that when you pull him out of there the way they did, I think they kind of that my own opinion is that they really may have misjudged how other people in that locker room would take it.
Kevin, I wonder if the Phillies have backdoored themselves when it's all said and done this season, and we're assuming that they don't make the playoffs, if they've backdoored themselves into having to fire Gabe Kapler, even if it isn't warranted, mainly because of how you said the guys above Kapler are fully entrenched in their positions right now. And fans, as you know, in this city will be calling, some fans at least, maybe vocal, will be calling for some blood.
Well, I think there is an argument to be made about Kapler being a justifiable firing. I'll give an example. I put this on Twitter. We use the Harper example, okay? Harper, with men on base, is one of the best hitters in the league. I think ESPN had him last night, 8th with men in scoring position or men on base. His average, his OBP, everything. And with runners, with the bases clear, he's one of the bottom guys in the entire sport, okay? His average is awful and everything. So what does Kapler do? He puts him at the top of the line. He puts him in the leadoff spot where he's guaranteed to hit without anybody on. He's a main RBI guy. You don't really do that. And I get that Kapler's trying to shake things up, but you don't do that. So there's enough baseball reasons, I think, to move Kapler. And you're right. I think that if they don't make the playoffs, he will probably be a sacrificial lamb for whatever's going on here. John Middleton's the key guy in this. If John Middleton has a pretty good pulse from what the city likes and what the city wants, how it feels, I think he understands that it's not just the Kapler thing, though. I think a lot of people, the Klentak and McPhail era, people have kind of lost a lot of faith in this year. And it'll be interesting to see if he pulls the plug on those two. Even though he gave them the contract extensions at the beginning of the year, look, everything in March was wonderful when that all happened. Circumstances changed a lot. John Middleton can pay out those contracts and move on if that's what he wants to do.
That's awful right now. It really is. I tried to watch this weekend. I just can't do it. And we got nothing. We got no backup quarterback really to watch in preseason meaningless football games. We got nothing until Eagles-Redskins, Kevin.
Well, yeah, and I think, again, schedule release for the Sixers. That's about it.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Well, that's at 3 o'clock. I mean, we're going to have to do that tomorrow. We're off the air by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think the most depressing thing, if you're a Phillies fan, about this season is the fact that you came in and you believed this was the start of a run. And it wasn't just this year. It's going to be multiple years. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the fact that you're staring a fourth place finish in the division in the face, and you're also looking at the long term and how they're kind of boxed in a little bit right now, it's really tough to swallow for an organization that hasn't seen the playoffs since 2011.
Yeah, and there's no question that the inability of Eflin or Pivetta to emerge and really become the pitchers that we were told they were going to be is way more responsible for this season than anything Gabe Kapler has done or not done. Agreed? I
would agree with that. Agree with that. And I think that look, they're going to have to move on from those guys. If you want to keep you can keep one, and I think Velasquez would be the obvious one right now. But you're going to have to move on from them at some point.
Awesome stuff, Kevin.
Great
Thanks
stuff
again.
As always, man.
At Kevin Cooney on Twitter.
Yeah, man. Philly voice.